The orchestra goes silent, every musician frozen. One man stands at the podium, baton raised, fury in his eyes. What happens when a conductor demands perfection and refuses anything less? Arturo Toscanini terrified the finest musicians alive, conducted entire operas from memory, and was once beaten by fascist thugs for refusing to kneel. So just how good was he actually, and what did that greatness cost? A boy named Arturo Toscanini began a routine that would shape the future of classical music. At just 10 years old, Toscanini entered the Regia Scuola di Musica di Parma on a municipal scholarship. The family's finances were tight, his father a railway worker, his mother managing a crowded household. But the school's records from 1876 show his name inked alongside the city's most promising students. Inside those conservatory walls, discipline wasn't optional. Every morning began with sight-reading drills, arpeggios, and solfeggio at the crack of dawn. Teachers like Giusto Dacci demanded more than practice. They insisted on memorization. Students were required to internalize entire opera scenes, then recite them, note for note, without a score. Examination sheets from the early 1880s document Toscanini's perfect marks in both cello and composition, and by his graduation in 1885 he earned the Premio Barboncini for top graduate. But the real secret weapon was his memory. Fellow students recalled hearing him hum full arias after a single hearing, his mind absorbing every detail like a camera. Faculty memos praised his memoria assoluta, recommending him for advanced positions before he was even out of his teens. The conservatory's relentless routine of memorization, technical drills, and competitive recitals wasn't just about building skill. It was about forging an obsession with precision. Toscanini's ability to conduct entire operas from memory, the trait that would later stun audiences and terrify orchestras, was born here in the pressure cooker of Parma's conservatory. This wasn't the story of a lone prodigy. It was the result of a system designed to push young musicians to the edge of human capability. And for Toscanini, it was only the beginning. June 30th, 1886. The Teatro Lirico in Rio de Janeiro was packed with an audience restless for Verdi's Aida. Tension crackled in the air. The scheduled conductor, Carlo Superti, barely made it through the overture before a storm of boos and shouts erupted from the crowd, so loud even Emperor Pedro II, sitting in his box, took notice. Superti, humiliated, set down his baton and refused to continue. Panic swept the orchestra. In the chaos, a 19-year-old cellist, Arturo Toscanini, was pushed forward by his colleagues. He had never conducted in public, never rehearsed with the full ensemble, and had no score in front of him. But Toscanini stepped onto the podium, took a breath, and raised his hands. What happened next would change the course of classical music history. Without a single sheet of music, Toscanini led the orchestra through Aida from memory, cueing every entrance, every dynamic, every tempo. Musicians later recalled his calm intensity, his eyes scanning the stage, his gestures sharp and sure. The audience, stunned into silence, watched as the opera unfolded with a precision they had never heard before. By the final curtain, the hostile crowd had transformed into a wave of applause. The next morning, Jornal do Brasil called him a metronome vivente, the living metronome. Program notes from the night confirm Primera apresentação de Arturo Toscanini como regente, regendo de cor a opera. In a single night, Toscanini's reputation as a conductor with superhuman memory and iron discipline was born. The Rio breakthrough did not just launch his international career, it set a new standard for what a conductor could be. But what made him different from every other maestro? Was this genius, or the beginning of something more complicated? Arturo Toscanini's presence did not just fill the room, it pressed down on every player like a vice. His standards were absolute. One slip in rhythm, and he would halt the entire orchestra, sometimes for a single misplaced quarter beat. Violinist Eugene Ormandy, who later kept a diary of these sessions, wrote of Toscanini insisting the strings repeat a passage 3 times until a microscopic rhythmic detail snapped into place. Even a cough could draw a glare. Musicians described the tension as suffocating. Each rehearsal was a crucible where careers and nerves were forged or broken. Stories of his explosive temper spread across Europe and the United States. A missed entrance could trigger a baton thrown to the floor. In one infamous rehearsal, Toscanini stopped the orchestra cold, shouting, "Vuoto!" then demanded the section play as if the notes were written on the air. No one moved. No one dared. He wrote corrections in red ink directly onto the scores, earning him that infamous nickname and a reputation for merciless precision. But this pressure produced results that stunned audiences and critics. Orchestras under Toscanini's command moved as a single organism, every detail sharpened, every dynamic exactly as written. The fear he inspired became part of the legend. For corporate leaders at NBC, this iron discipline was not a liability, it was a selling point. They saw in Toscanini a guarantee of control, consistency, and spectacle. Was this the price of greatness, or control taken too far? In the world of classical music history, no conductor before or since made musicians sweat like Toscanini. David Sarnoff, the visionary at RCA, saw an opportunity no one else dared imagine, a conductor so uncompromising his name alone could sell the idea of classical music to millions. In 1937, Sarnoff's internal memo authorized an extraordinary $2 million to create the NBC Symphony Orchestra. It was an orchestra built for one man, Arturo Toscanini. The budget was staggering, but the gamble paid off. On November 13th, the inaugural broadcast thundered through radios in living rooms from New York to Buenos Aires. 30 million listeners tuned in, making Toscanini not just a maestro, but the first true global celebrity of the classical music world. But while NBC and RCA turned him into a household name, politics in Italy threatened everything. Toscanini's refusal to bow to Mussolini's regime was more than a personal stance. It was a public act of defiance. On October 14, 1931, after a performance at the Teatro Comunale di Bologna, a mob of black shirts waited outside. The Bologna Gazette recorded the chaos. Shouts of "Viva il Duce," a thrown stone striking his baton, a world-famous conductor forced to abandon the stage. Hospital records from that night list a thoracic contusion and a split lip. Toscanini's own correspondence reveals the impact. Exile became the price of artistic and moral conviction. The NBC Symphony Orchestra became his sanctuary. Here, Toscanini wielded more power than any conductor before him. His every gesture was broadcast to millions, and his rehearsal demands were now backed by corporate muscle. But with each broadcast, the tension only grew. Was this music's greatest interpreter, or a man using technology and terror to bend an entire orchestra, even a nation, to his will? The world watched, listened, and wondered where genius ended and tyranny began. They tell a story as dramatic as any opera. When musicologists at the New York Public Library digitized his annotated scores, they found something almost unheard of in classical music history. Across hundreds of performances, Toscanini's tempos deviated by less than 0.8 beats per minute. That is not just close, it is mechanical precision on a human scale. In 2003, a study by Dr. Maria Bianchi comparing Toscanini's Beethoven's 7th recordings to the original scores revealed his average speed ran 5% faster than the composer's own markings. Yet his beat-to-beat consistency left almost no room for error. Original score scans show his trademark red ink underlining every tempo and dynamic, no improvisation, no ego, just the composer's intentions enforced like law. In a world where most conductors drift by several beats per minute, Toscanini's graphs look like a straight line. It is the kind of data that makes even skeptics admit this was not just interpretation, it was a new definition of orchestral discipline. But do these numbers prove genius or obsession? Leonard Bernstein once called Toscanini's baton technique laser-focused, a standard so clear it became a model for generations of conductors. The influence did not stop at the podium. Today, conservatories from Milan to New York require every conducting student to pass a masterclass titled Lessons from Toscanini, course code 4MCT01, a nod to the man whose obsession with precision rewrote the curriculum itself. In the 1940s, Hollywood studios, desperate for exact synchronization in film scores, borrowed his rehearsal methods. Max Steiner, the composer behind classics like Casablanca, demanded his musicians follow Toscanini's tempo discipline, down to the last beat. That legacy pulses through every tightly coordinated blockbuster soundtrack. Yet for all the admiration, the debate rages on. Some see Toscanini as the high priest of music perfection, a conductor who channeled the composer's true intent. Others call him a tyrant who crushed spontaneity under the weight of his own demands. His name still divides rehearsal rooms and music forums alike. Did he elevate orchestral conducting to its highest form, or did he set a standard so strict that it stifled the very soul of classical music? He didn't just conduct music, he controlled it. So just how good was Arturo Toscanini, or was he something else entirely? Today, orchestral conducting still wrestles with the shadow of music perfection that Arturo Toscanini cast, both revolutionary genius and relentless taskmaster. He didn't just conduct music, he controlled it. So, just how good was Arturo Toscanini, or was he something else entirely?